Mr. Good, the gentlelady from California, Ms. Lee, is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to the panel. First of all, let me just say to my colleagues, you all have a warped definition of woke. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines woke as aware of and actively attentive to important societal facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social justice. In other words, it's basic decency. It means treating all Americans fairly, regardless of their skin color, background, religion, or gender identity. And I should know, because they actually quoted me in that definition of woke from a speech that I gave. And I said, but we will succeed if we reject the growing pressure to retreat into cynicism and hopelessness. We have a moral obligation to yes, stay woke, take a stand and be active, challenging injustices and racism in our communities and fighting hatred and discrimination wherever it rises. So as an African American, your testimony, Ms. Augustine, scares me to death because you said, based on your definition of woke, that we won't have a country left. We won't have a country left. If in fact, we want a country that ensures equality for all. That's outrageous. That's what America stands for. Mr. Gupta, let me just ask you about the value of the federal government and the American taxpayer investing in diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and how these investments lead to equal opportunity for everyone in this democracy where every American should have a shot to the American dream, where you know, and all of you know, that marginalized people in this country, people of color, poor people don't have that path to the American dream.
Thank you, Representative Lee, for the question and your contributions to this discussion. And I appreciate you bringing up what I think should be a shared principle. Let's go back to the Declaration of Independence. At the time, they meant it in an exclusive way, but they wrote all men are created equal. If you believe that today, and you see that based on group identity and other lived experiences, these extraordinary disparities, for example, that a median white household has 8 or 9 times the wealth of a typical black household in this country. And if you believe that our systems are fair, then how could we see those outcomes, right? Does anyone here believe that merit varies by race? That ability varies by race? I don't think anyone here believes that. So what we know is, sometimes unintentionally, but sometimes very knowingly, we do have a lot of disparities by race. And educating people like my 6-year-old and my 10-year-old about this history, about just basic facts, actually helps bring them together. It actually helps them understand each other. It helps build a multiracial, vibrant democracy that will allow us to compete with other countries rising throughout the world, that will allow us to have the strength of everyone's talent and potential.
Thank you very much. And let me ask you very quickly about the Default on America Act in terms of the harm that this could wreak on the American people. In fact, let me just give you a couple of facts. In Speaker McCarthy's own district, mind you, these cuts would jeopardize Social Security payments for 75,000 people. That's in our Speaker's district. Would risk the health benefits of 285,000 people in Speaker McCarthy's district. It would threaten the retirement savings of 89,000 people in Speaker McCarthy's district. And this is just 1-year impact of these cuts. Can you speak more on the long-term impact of these cuts?
Yes, I appreciate the question, Representative Lee. And I'll just add that this underscores that prioritization of debt service payments over everything else is still default. You're defaulting on the American people, on promises, on obligations that have been made to them, that they can count on right now, that they have been able to count on. So the consequences could be tremendous. In the long run, undermining our credit rating and the ability for the United States government to borrow as freely as it can right now. I just want to remind folks that there is no bank, there is no one telling us that we can't borrow. We're only telling ourselves that. In fact, people are readily willing and able to help us finance our investments because they know that the American economy has been so dynamic, so successful for so long, will continue to in the future. So this would simply be an own goal that would harm us potentially for decades to come.
Thank you. And just for the record, in my own state of California, not specifically Speaker McCarthy's district, which we just went through, which I just went through, the whole state of California, if in fact these budget cuts were enacted, we'd have 2.6 million people at risk of losing Medicaid coverage. We'd eliminate preschool and child care for at least 35,000 children and reduce access to outpatient care at Veterans Affairs medical facilities by approximately 2.3 million visits. So these are impacts on people's daily lives. These aren't just statistics. These are real everyday challenges that people are going to will have if in fact these cuts are enacted. So what are they going to do? How do you see their lives?
Gentlelady's time has expired.
Oh, okay, well, thank you, and I'll submit the question for the record.
Thank
and
you.
get a response. Thank you very much.